Welcome to Terra Juno Painting Stuff. On this plein air adventure, we'll be painting this 12 by 12 inch oil painting on location at Kwatsech Park Beach. And we'll also be exploring a tidal cave. Thank you so much for joining me for this adventure today. We are at Kwatsech Park Beach, and it's a really cool place. There's several beaches in this park area. Today we're going down to a very quiet part of the park, and we're going to be painting at the far end of this little beach area, where it's less populated and dog-friendlier. This is my plein air buddy Emily, and she comes on all of my plein air adventures with me. And if you've been watching my channel, you know she can be interesting. There's also something really cool down here. There is a cave that you can sometimes get into at a low tide. Okay, let's try to get to this cave. It's not as low tide as I was hoping, but we can probably still hop from one rock to another and at least see inside. It's very slippery here. Apparently Emmy is not aware. Oh yeah, there's water in here right now. We might be able to see in if we can climb onto these rocks over here. Emmy's gonna lead by example. Oh yeah, you're crazy. Girl, you are nuts. Oh, this is so slippery. This is as far as I can see into it right now. It's filled with water up to the way there, and it's coming in really fast. I have some shots from a previous trip I can show you. It goes in about 10 feet and just sort of ends at a crack. And there's all sorts of little interesting creatures and slimy things in there. Oh, it's spooky in here. I would love to paint in here one day, but the tide does come whooshing through here pretty quickly. And I feel like I would just get so wrapped up in painting. I would end up having to swim back. I think I should probably get back. This kind of looks like a nice place to set up. It has a seat already. The tide will come in here, but it still leaves me the option of climbing back over the rocks. I'm not sure how much time I'm going to get out of this dog. After all of that, I decided to move my panel over here because it is nice and cool over here. And I also like this view a lot better. We're gonna start how we usually do, with a viewfinder and a grid. And I'm just gonna draw some lines matching my viewfinder on my panel. I'm working on a 12 by 12 inch panel primed with gesso, and I'm gonna make a very quick pencil sketch. For my palette, I will be using fast dry white, titanium white, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, ivory black, alizarin crimson, cadmium red medium, terra rosa, permanent green, azo green, ultramarine blue, and for a medium I'm using Gamblin's solvent-free gel. I'm starting off by putting in some of my darks, and I'm making this with a little bit of terra rosa, ivory black, and fast dry white. Today was absolutely gorgeous. It was sunny and the water was calm. There were quite a bit more people on the beach than usual, which wasn't great. Emily had an encounter with a really mean man who yelled at her and chased her, so she sat and shivered on my lap for a while. I've never had anybody do that. He just had a really bad vibe. She knew he was a bad person, That's why she was barking at him to begin with. She's just scared and she's a little dog. I've been plein air painting for a very long time, over 20 years, and I really have had very few bad experiences with people. I've had a few bear encounters. Those are always unsettling. Most of the time, people are very nice, and having an incident where this man came after my dog was probably the most unpleasant incident. But I don't let that get in the way of doing something that I absolutely love doing, and something that Emily loves doing too. Most people are really good with her. She's come a long way. She is a rescue, so she has some triggers, and she knows a bad person when she sees one. After that, she was really unsettled and kept barking at everybody, so we eventually packed and went back up. The next day, we came back, except this time we brought security. In case the mean man came back, he would have somebody his own size to chase and scream at instead of a tiny little dog and a tiny little woman. This is a really complicated scene. There's a lot going on. There's shadows moving, there's reflections, the tide is rising and falling. For the water, I'm using white and ultramarine blue, mixing a bit of gray, black, and terra rosa for the shadow tone mix closer to the shore. I just love this end of the beach. It's pretty quiet for a beach that's so close to the city, and most of the people that come on the beach come with their dogs, and they're okay with dogs. I really lucked out with the calm water, and I got a nice reflection happening all day. There's a lot of really subtle earth tones in here, and I'm mostly making them with earth tones. I'm using a lot of burnt sienna, terra rosa, ivory black, white, and yellow ochre to make these colors. You can get a lot of different hues out of earth tones. They don't tend to be bright or powerful, so every once in a while it's nice to add something like a cadmium or a lake. Just taking a bit of medium on my brush and I'm getting a little bit more wave action. The light was so gorgeous. It started out with this little sliver of a shadow, and as the light changed, the shadows just became more and more interesting, and it was really hard to not want to chase each single one. And that's a problem when you're painting in full sunlight. Every time the light changes, something beautiful pops up, and you just want to run after it with your paintbrush. So I had to use a bit of restraint and stick to some of my original plan, but there were some really gorgeous things happening. I really liked when the light was hitting these stones on the water that had gotten half submerged with the tide. They just made interesting points of light. The lights changed quite a bit, and I think I'm going to have to call this one done. It's been a really great day, and the weather was just perfect. We really lucked out with the nice calm sea today. Painting the scene was so much fun. I'm glad that you were able to come along. Thank you so much for joining me for another plein air adventure. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you paint something beautiful.